Hello, good morning students. See, this is our first lecture of your important chapter number 4, accounts, part 1 of standard 11. And this chapter name is journal entry, or you can say only journal. Okay, see here we complete in our last lecture chapter number 1 and 2. 3, I told you that chapter number 3 of goods and services introduction, that is GST introduction, is only theory chapter, and I am right now skip that particular chapter because that chapter we will discuss in our regular lecture very soon. Okay, so now we'll start our very important chapter, that is chapter number 4, journal entries. See, this chapter is very important because in first term examinations it will ask for 15 marks, from 50 marks it will ask from 15, right? And in second examination, that is in second term, again from 50 marks it will ask in 15 marks, and in third examination, that is for final examinations, from 80 marks paper it will also ask for 15 to 20 marks. So it is most important chapter, and it is also useful to your commerce journey up to whatever you are study. That is this chapter, that means base of this chapter will continue to with you. Okay, so please concentrate and please do 1 and 2 chapter again if you don't understand this chapter, because the chapter number 2 is the base of chapter number 4, that is journal, and here chapter number 1, that is terminology, is the base of chapter number 2 and chapter number 4. Okay, so if you don't do the chapter number 2 up to now, then please do first that particular, then do this chapter. Okay, so here the important chapter, that is journal, chapter number 4, journal, we will start. See here again in page number 57 and 58, the introduction as well as what is journal book, characteristics of journal books, specific significance of journal, all is given. That is the theory. We are skipping that particular theory because here this chapter is only important for the practical one, right? So here the important theory based on the practical, that will we do in our lectures. Okay, so now the next topic, that is topic number 5 of chapter number 4, that is specimen of journal and its explanation, we will do here right now. That is on page number 58. See, the specimen is given. See, in the last chapter, in chapter number 2, in illustration number 10 and 11, we discussed about the transactions to accounts, affected two accounts, and we apply that affected two accounts. First of all, we classify them into personal account, real account, and nominal account, and then we apply the rule of that personal, real, and nominal and write down in a separate column, right? But that is the only the explanations, that is the only the analysis, and that is just only a classification of the particular journal, the particular transactions, which account is affected and which account apply which rule, that we show separately in illustration number 10 and 11, as well as in the exercise 2 sums, exercise 2 question number 4 and 5 sum. Okay, but here we have to do the same thing, but we have to write down the journal. That means here one specimen, one fixed method to write that particular transactions or apply the particular transactions, the rule of personal, real, or nominal account. Okay, so here the specimen is given. I am explaining you that particular specimen of journal is here. See, I am doing on the board. See, we have to write first of all the heading. In which book I am writing a journal. See, whenever I am writing a journal, I have to say that I am the person that I am doing a business, and in my books of accounts I am writing a journal entries. What is journal entry? See here, first of all, what is journal entry? I am reading the introduction first. See, on page number 57, day to day many economic accounting transactions take place in trade, business and industry. To remember economic accounting transactions easily, some businessmen record transactions in rough book immediately so that recording of transactions would not be skipped. Here they want to say that whatever the transactions or whatever the transactions is made in trade or in business or in industry, some businessmen do that, write that particular transactions in a rough book, right? Because they remember, they do not remember all the transactions done during the year, during the month, during the day, right? So here they are recording that particular transactions in first rough book, okay, so that recording of transactions would not be skipped. From this rough book, businessmen write an accounts. From this rough book, businessmen write an accounts with while some businessmen, instead of having rough book, write accounts directly from the vouchers. If vouchers, what means of voucher? Voucher means the bills, all the bills, purchase bill, sale bill, and the different types of expenses bill is there. From a businessman has there all the bills, all the vouchers. On the basis of bills and vouchers, that is the proof of your business, right? And from that particular proof, businessmen write an accounts, or some businessmen write all the transactions in a rough book. But that is from rough book or from the bill, from the vouchers. Ultimately, the businessman has to write a final accounts, that is accounts, journal entries, right? What is that? According to the principles of dual effects, minimum 2 accounts are associated for each accounting transaction, right? After determining the type of such accounts, which account would get benefit or consideration and which account would give benefit or consideration is determined. We have to show that. See, we already seen that in the session number 10, some person give us a benefit or some person take us a benefit. That means giver or receiver. Some assets comes into the business or some assets goes out from the business. That is real account, right? Or that means again, if I am receiving assets, I am taking a benefit. I am selling an assets, I am giving an benefit. And in the third account, that is in nominal account, some expenses made by the business and some incomes received by the business. Again, income received, that is benefit received. Expenses done, that is benefit given, right? So here, so 2 transactions are there. One get benefit or consideration, and the second one give the benefit or consideration. Applying debit credit rules of the accounts, it is determined that which account will be debited and which account will be credited to record transactions. That will be shown in illustration number 10, 11 in chapter number 2. Okay, a recording process of accounting transactions based on the rule of debit and credit in the first book of accounts is journal. See, underline that particular line. A recording process of accounting transaction based on rules of debit and credit in the first book of accounts is journal, right? So the book in which first effect of accounting transaction is made is known as journal or journal book. Is known as journal or journal book. Whatever, see, this is not a chapter, this is the name of a book. First book of accounts. See, in rough book I am writing the transactions, that is not my first book. I am writing a final transactions with the specimen, with the method, appropriate method given by the AICPA, right? Or given by the main author of the journal, right? And whatever the journal entry is there, whatever I am writing on the books, that book is called a journal or journal book. right? So here the first book of account, see, underline that particular word. First book of account is journal. That is your 1 mark MCQ question or 1 mark SQ question answer, right? What is the first book of account? First book of account is journal, right? Okay, now specimen, see the specimen here. We have to first of all write down the heading, journal book of Shree so and so. Whatever the name is given here into the question, we have to write that particular name. Journal book of Mr. Shah, journal book of Mr. Ramani, whatever the name, whatever the surname, whatever given is there, we have to write that is particular heading. Now first column is date, second column is particulars, third column LF, fourth column debit in rupees, and fifth column credit rupees. See, into date, particulars, LF, debit and credit, whatever we have to write, I am explaining that by reading on page number 59. The explanation is given here. First of all, this one is the specimen, date, particulars, LF, debit, credit, right? Now in the date we have to write first of all the year, that is 2020, the current year. If April month is the date when I am starting my business or when I am starting my year, not business, then April 1st 2020 I have to write that particular date. Whatever on the which day I am doing a transactions, I have to write that particular date, right? Now we are in particulars, debit and credit account, we have to write LF, nothing we have to write. Debit rupees written in the debit side and credit rupees written on the credit column. What is that? See, I am explaining you here on page number 59. The explanation is given. On the basis of that, I am explaining you. See, explanation. Now let us have explanations of above mentioned columns of the journal book. First of all, date. In journal entry, the first column is of date. Accounting transactions is recorded in order to time and date. Whatever the time and date is given, we have to write, we have to follow that particular order, right? Means, what means of that? See, if 1st April transaction is given, we have to write that first. If 7th April transactions, 15th April transactions, 25th April transaction is given, we have to write down that particular transactions by in order of the date. So we have to write first of all the date and then write the transactions. We have to follow compulsory the order of being happen of the transactions, that is date and time. See, accounting transaction is recording the order of the time and date. In journal, in this column, first of all year, then month, and finally date is mentioned. Year, then month, and then finally date is mentioned. But you can write like that also. See here, you can write here 1/4/2020. This one is also correct. You can write like this also, or you can write like this also. You can write in both the ways. Both the ways answer is correct. Okay, so don't worry. If you write like this, then it is okay, fine, good. But if you write like this, then it is okay. Then it is okay, fine, right? So here, first year, then month, then date is given into the first column, that is date column, right? And we have to write compulsory. See, in the question, the date is given and it is given in the order. That's why we don't have to think about much more about that. But if the given transactions is not in the order, that is date are in not order, then you have to adjust that. But here in this book, no sum is just like that. You have to adjust that particular sum. Here all the sums are given in the order, right? So don't worry about that. Now particulars. In particular columns, what we have to do? See, this column is very important column for us because this one is the main answer. See, full entry is your main answer, but here you have to write down the account's name. Which minimum two accounts are affected, we have to write that particular account here, and also we have to write the narration. What is that? See here, the second column is in journal book is of particulars. Particulars is very important column of journal book. As per the rules of debit credit account, which account is to be debited and is to be recorded in the first column of particular. Example, cash account debit, but instead of debit, DR is written. See, if the transactions, I am telling you that cash of rupees 5,000 received from Manish. See, cash of rupees 5,000 received from Manish. What is the journal entry? Which two account first affected here? First one, cash received. That's why cash come into the business. That's why cash account debit. And Manish is the giver. Manish is personal account. Manish is giver. That's why credited. Giver account credited. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. So Manish is the giver. That's why Manish account will be credited here. Okay, so see, keep in mind first of all the transactions. What is the transactions? Cash received from Manish rupees 5,000. Here cash account debit, Manish account credit. But we have to write like that. See here, I am writing that particular transaction here. Cash account. Which account is debited? We have to write that first. Here we have to first of all set the entry in our mind. Cash received, that's why cash account debit, and Manish is the giver, that's why Manish account credit. Which account first debit? Cash account, so that we have to write first. Which account credit? That is Manish account, that we have to write second. Okay, so here cash account, and here after space, giving a space, Manish account we have to write. Okay, cash account debit, that's why we have to write only DR here. DR, that is the short form of debit. Cash account debit, we have to write debit here only, compulsory, not here. Cash account, Manish account, whatever, capital account, whatever account are there, we have to write the name of that particular account from the very starting of the particular column. Right? Starting point of particular column, we have to write cash account, but the debit word, that is short form of debit, is DR. We have to write here at the end of that particular column. Okay, so here cash account debit, and which account is credited? Here Manish account is credited, so we have to write compulsory here 2. Here space we have to write down that particular second account, that's credit account, after leaving a space from the starting of the particular column. Okay, so here I am leaving a space here. Which account is credited? We have to leave a space from the particular starting of the particular column, and then write 2, compulsory 2, Manish account. Here we don't have to write the short form of credit, that is CR. We have to write only cash account debit, that is DR. 2 means credit. Whatever account I am writing with the 2, that account will be credited. So 2 Manish account, that is Manish account here credited. So here I have to write 5,000 in debit column and 5,000 here. See, here I am writing that 5,000 and here I am writing that 5,000. Okay, so here cash account debit. From here debit column you have to write 5,000. In the next line, in the next row we have to write 2 Manish account. And on the credit column, see here we don't have to write here credit in the any amount in the credit column, and also any amount in the debit column here. Okay, so 2 Manish account 5,000 we have to write here. I am reading that particular column again. See the second paragraph of point number 2. Then account which has credit effect is recorded subsequently. First of all, we have to write the debit account, that is cash account. Then we have to write the debit, that is short form of debit, that is DR, at the end of the particular column, right? And then we have to write the second account. Then we have to write again which has credit effect is recorded subsequently. A credit affected account is recorded in second line and it is written after keeping some space. See here, what is that? A credit account affected account is recorded in the second line, right? And it is written after keeping some space. Here I am keeping some space, right? Then I am writing Manish account, right? Write the word to is written. Here I am writing that particular word, return. Here I have written that particular word, that is to. First of all, debit account, whatever the affected debit account we have to write. Then write down the debit word, that is short form of debit, at the end of the column. Then keeping some space here in the second line, I am keeping a space here. Then write down compulsory to, and then write down the affected credit account, that is Manish account. Okay. See, in return, then the name of the account would appear here. At the end of the word credit is not written. Here I am writing the debit word, but here credit word is not written. Compulsory, only debit is written, credit is not written, because here the meaning of to means here this account will be credited. To means what? This account is credited. Here no to is there, that's why we have to write debit. Whatever account debited, we have to write debit short form at the end of the column. And here we have to keeping a space and then write down to and not write down the credit, because the meaning of to means that account is credited. Okay, so here example, to sales account will be written. Then brief information is written as narration. What is that? See here, the transaction is over. Now the entry is over? No. Here you have to write into a bracket. After writing the journal entry, that is cash account debit to Manish account, after writing that, we have to write in one bracket the narration. What is that narration? See, the question in your own words you have to write here. What is the question? See here, what is the transaction? Here, cash received from Manish, rupees 5,000 is the transaction, right? So, we have to write that particular transaction in our own words, or we can write the full transaction also. That is our narration. Why? We see, this is the journal entry, this is the journal entry, but here see, whatever the transaction is given into the books, that means in practical life, whatever transactions done by the businessman is written in the journal entry from, right? Is written here in journal entry from. What is the transaction? Cash received from Manish is the transaction, right? That businessman know that cash received from Manish at that time on 1st April. But now after some times, if he want to know which transaction entry is there here, which transaction entry is I am recording here, that at that time the transactions we have to remember. So at that time, if you want to try after 1 month, after April 1st, after 1 month, in May 1st, if I want to remember that which transaction entry I made here in April 1st, then you have to see that narration here. Whatever the narration here, that means here the transaction is written in your own words, right? So you have to write down the transactions in your own words, means we have to write down, see, compulsory being. Being is the word of narration starting point. What means of that here? Being means the transactions, I am recording this transaction because here the transaction says that cash received from Manish. Here the transaction is that cash received from Manish rupees 5,000. So you have to write that particular transactions in your own words, that being I am recording this journal entry because the cash received from Manish is the original transaction. That's why I am recording these transactions into the journal form. Right? So whatever the transaction is there, you have to write here in being, and it is called a narration. Right? And if you don't write that narration, if you write this journal entry only, then you will not get a full marks. See, here one entry get 1 marks. If one entry has 1 mark, then you will get only half marks, other than your entry is fully correct. Right? Your entry is cash account debit to Manish account, that is correct entry. 5,000, 5,000 all are correct, but you don't write the narration only. Then your marks you will not get a full marks. Okay, so I am explaining you this specimen because here all the thing, that is date as well as these that means here date, then account of 2 accounts affected, then debit word, then 2 word, then 5,000 on debit column and credit column, and being this is the process of one journal entry. You have to write all the points of journal entry, otherwise you will not get a full marks. If you forget to write down the date, if you forget to write down the debit word, if you forget to write down 2 word, or if you forget to write down the 5,000 or narration, whatever any of these you are forgetting to write down at the time of writing the journal entry, then here you will not get a full marks, because it is a fixed method. You have to write all these things to write down one journal entry. Okay, so after that you have to write down, you have to see here one transaction is over. After over one transactions, you have to make one line in a particular column only. See, in only particular column, not in date column, not in debit credit column, not anywhere. Only in a particular column you have to write one line. See here. Then the brief information is written in the narration, which is disclosed as being, as the indication of the completion of transactions. 2 lines are drawn below our transactions. Here not 2 lines, only 1 line. Only 1 line we have to draw under the transactions. That means here one transactions of 1st April is over. Right? Not 2 lines, please. Only 1 line you have to draw under the transactions. It is indicates that here one transaction is over of 1st April. See, not on 1st April, not only one transaction is there. On 1st April, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 during the year, many transactions are there. Right? So we have to write all the transactions, but whatever the transaction, wherever the transaction is complete, we have to draw a line. That means it indicates this transaction is over. Now the second transactions on 1st April or on next day. Okay. So here the second column, that is explanation of particular, is over, and it is very important. Please see that. Next point, third point is ledger folio, LF column. See, very small column is here because we don't have to write anything in the LF column. We just have to prepare that particular column because it is used in a practical life. Here in the theoretical, whenever I am writing the journal entry as your study, right, as your syllabus, whenever I am writing your journal entry, then at that time in LF column we don't have to write anything. That's why that column will be very small, right? But we have to prepare that particular column because it is a part of your journal specimen. If you don't prepare that LF, then also you not get a full marks. you don't get a full marks. If LF column you forgot to draw, then also you do not get a full marks. Okay, so please, this specimen, keep in mind this full specimen. First column is date, second column is particular, third column is LF. We don't have to write anything, so it is a small, and then debit amount is there and credit amount is there. In the third column of journal, ledger folio number, that is LF, is to be disclosed. In short form, it is called as LF, right? Number, LF number. After passing of journal entry during a posting of these transactions in ledger, the page number is to be written where respective posting of account is made. See, after doing these transactions, here we have to write posting account. Which account? See, in the posting process, after that we have to, after writing out the journal entry, we have to post that into particular account, right? So that particular account will show in ledger. So here we have to write down the ledger folio number, page number, ledger folio page number we have to write here, but here we don't have to write anything. It is just for your information, right? So ledger folio number we have to write in which page I am writing that particular account, that is cash account on 15th page and Manish account on 25th page. So we have to write here page number 15 and here page number 25. But it is not written in this chapter. It is just for your knowledge. Okay. Due to this arrangement, wherever any information is required, it can be easily availed from the concerned books. Okay, so it is not for here, not for you. Now the debit, fourth one, debit. In the fourth column of journal, the amount of debit account is to be written here 5,000, and account which is debited in the column of particulars, the amount of it is to be written in debit column. See, cash account debit, so we have to write 5,000 in the debit column. To Manish account, that means here Manish account credit, that's why writing 5,000 in the credit column. Okay, so credit in the fifth column of journal, the amount of credit account is to be written, and account is credited in column of particulars, the amount of it is to be written in a credit column. Okay, finally, according to double entry system, in each transaction, whichever amount is debited, the same amount is credited. Thus the total of the both the columns is always identical. See here, whatever amount is debited, that particular amount is credited. That's why always see here, if the transaction is over here, then we have to write one line, here again one line, and then second line. What is that? See, the total of these. See, the total of these is what? Here the total is 5,000, and as well as here the total is 5,000. So one line for the total and the two line for the tally of the total. This two line is the sign of tally, the total, right? So here 5,000 debited, 5,000 credited, always whatever the debit amount is there, the same amount will be credited. That's why total of debit and credit column always equal, right? So you have to write one line for, you have to draw one line for the total, then make the total here, both the total are always equal. Any, see here only one transaction is there. In the question more than 5-10 transactions are there, so you have to make the total, right? After that, one total, same way, the second total is always equal. If it is not equal, then you made a mistake. Okay, so it is the key to find out your mistake in writing a amount. Okay, so here the total must be tally, and the sign of tally is two line after that. After the total 5,000, 5,000 equal total, we have to draw a two line, that is the sign of equal the total. Okay. Now whatever the transactions are recorded in the journal or on respective page, after having total at the end of the page, the word balance carry forward is written. See here, if the one page is over, see here only one transaction is there. In the regular sum, more than one transaction, that is more than 5 or 10 transactions are there. If in by writing of the transactions, if your page is complete and the transactions are remaining, so you have to write down the remaining transaction on the next page. Okay, so here we have to write in the current page, in the first page, that is balance carry forward. See here, whatever the transaction are recorded in the journal or respective page, after having total, here after doing one page, we have to write down here the total and we have to carry forward that total on the next page. Compulsory. That will be do in the regular sum. See, in the regular transactions, I will explain you again that particular item, right? Whatever I am writing on the first page, then make the total of this first page, then this total will be carried forward on the next page, first line, and then we will do the next journal entries, next transactions journal entry. Okay, so above here the balance carry forward is written. Above total, one line is to be drawn, and below total, two lines are to be drawn. One line and here two line, right? Which indicates that the journal entries are completed on subsequent page before recording transactions. In the beginning of page, again total of debit and credit is written with the words balance brought forward. See, if balance is carried forward here, then on the next page, first line is there balance carry forward, and write down the total of previous page, and then write down the remaining and transactions journal entry. Okay, so this is the full explanation of this specimen of journal. Okay, so please, I am giving you here 2 to 3 minutes for reading that all these things. That is all the explanation. Please read again and keep in mind all these things because it is very important. Okay, so here I am giving you here 2 to 5 minutes for that, and then we'll discuss our next topic. Okay, so please read that. Okay, now we will discuss. See, read your page up to that and draw the illustration 1 specimen, right? The accounts, journal entries. See, read the question first. Illustration number 1. Record the following transitions in the journal books of Priya. See here, the heading is Journal Book of Priya. That is the first compulsory. The heading is there. You have to write down compulsory that particular heading. then date, particulars, LF number, debit and credit. Okay, so now I am writing the transactions. Okay, I am recording the transactions. First transactions 2014 March 1st. Here I have to write 2014 March 1st. Here 15. 2015 March 1st is the first date. Goods of rupees 5,000 is purchased on cash. See, the transaction is given here. Goods of rupees 5,000. See, now keep in mind the illustration number 10 and 11, whatever we have done in the last lecture, right? And also we done exercise question number 4 and 5. That is here applying. Here we have to apply that particular affected accounts, that particular rules of accounts, and we have to write that in a journal form, right? Goods of rupees 5,000 purchased on cash. So what is that here? Cash account is affected because here cash transaction is there, cash word is used, that's why. And the purchase of goods, that's why goods comes into the business. Okay, so first account debited is purchase account. Goods come into the business, purchase account debited. And second affected account is cash. Cash goes out from the business, that's why credited to cash account. So I am writing the journal entry here, purchase account, then debit, that is short form of debit is DR. What is the amount? 5,000. Then leave a space. 2. Which account? Cash. I am giving a cash on behalf of purchase. So to cash account. Here 5,000. Okay. So here this is the format to write down the journal. Here we have to write the date, year and month. Then first account debit. Whatever the debit affected account, we have to write that first. That is purchase account debit. So 5,000 debit, debit short form, that is DR, we have to write here and leave a space. Then write down compulsory to whichever account is credited. If we have to write down to here to cash account and write down here 5,000. And now write down into the bracket being, that is narration, being purchase made from cash or goods purchased in on cash. Goods purchased on cash of rupees 5,000. You can write of rupees 5,000. Goods purchased on cash of rupees 5,000 or 5,000 rupees goods purchased on cash. Whatever you have to write, but you have to write something as your answer, right? So being, see, you have to write that particular being in your own words. Whatever you can write, goods purchased or purchase goods for cash, purchase goods of rupees 5,000 on cash. Whatever you have to write, you want to write, you can write, but you have to write some words, some questions, and in your own words compulsory. And after that we have to write, see, we have to draw a one line. That is here first transaction is complete. Okay, now the second transaction, goods of rupees 8,000 is purchased from Nandan on credit. The word credit is given, the party name is given, and the cash word is not given. That's why it is a credit transaction. Okay. Now goods purchase again. So goods comes into the business. That's why purchase account debited. And who is the giver? Here the person name, personal name, that is person name is given Nandan. Nandan is the giver. That's why Nandan account will be credited here. Okay, so here which day? 4th March. So here 4th. Which account debited? Purchase. Purchase account debit to Nandan account. What is the amount? 8,000. So debit 8,000 as well as here credit 8,000. Don't write 8,000 in one row. We have to write debit on the debit row and credit on the credit row. Okay, so here dash, here again dash, here dash, and here also a dash. Okay, now being, that is narration, goods of rupees 8,000 purchase from Nandan on credit. This is your narration, and after that we have to draw one line. Here your second transaction is complete. Okay, third one, goods of rupees 4,000 is sold to Jigna. Here again the party name is given, cash word is not used, that's why here it is a credit transaction, right? Jigna is a person and that personal account is affected, and I am selling the goods, that's why goods goes out from the business. That account will be credited, goods goes out. Whatever real account, what is the rule? Goods goes out or assets goes out, credited, and here Jigna is the benefit receiver, debit the receiver, right? That's why Jigna account debit, and here goods, or you can say sales account, credit. Okay, this is the journal entry of 7th March. Jigna is the receiver, so Jigna account debit to sales account, because I am selling the goods, that's why to sales account. Whatever if I am purchasing the goods, that's purchase account debit. If I am the selling the goods, then sales account will be credit. 4,000 being goods of rupees 4,000 sold to Jigna on credit. Okay, so here the narration is written. So now the the transaction is over. So draw one line for that. Now the next transaction is 12. Commission received rupees 200. Commission received. Here income comes into the business. What is the income? So income always credited. Commission received, that's why commission is our income. So commission account will be credited, income always credited. See here which transaction is there, the received word is given, so this one is a cash transaction, right? And party name is also not given and received word is given, that's why it is a cash transactions, and that's why cash comes into the business, that's why cash account debited. Okay, so here 12 cash account debit to commission is our income, that's why commission account. What is the amount? 200 rupees. Cash commission received being commission received of rupees 200 is the narration, and draw one line. So here your fourth transaction is also over, and now the last transactions, wages, that is expenses. Wage expenses paid rupees 150. Okay, so here on 15, see expenses always debited, and here again paid word is there, that's why cash transactions, cash goes out because I am paying the cash, that's why cash credited. Expenses always debited. So here wages expenses, here wage expense account or wage account, wage expense account debit to cash paid, that's why to cash account. 150 is the amount, 150 debited and 150 credited, and being wages expenses paid of rupees 150, and here one line. So here the transaction is over. Now what is the remaining? See, all the transactions are over, so your sum is complete? No, you have to make a total of these compulsory. You have to write down, you have to draw one line and two line. Here two line, okay, one line and two line. What is the total? 8, 5, 13, 13 plus 4, 17, 17,350. The total is 17,350. Here again the total is 17,350, and you have to write down here total, right? So here the line, see, you have to draw a line for full compulsory from date to credit, full line. Here in the particular column you have to write the total, and here you have to write the total of these two columns, and always both total are equal compulsory. Here your answer is complete. Here you have to draw one line full again, and here two line in the total. Okay, so here your first illustration is over. Here today there is no any other homework. What is your homework? See, read up to illustration number 2 from first page of chapter number 4. That is page number 57. From page number 57 to illustration number 2, 3 is over. So here we have to read page number 57, 8, 9, 60, 61 and 62. That means 57 to 62 page you have to read and write this illustration 1 in your example book. Okay, so you have to read all these from 57 to 62 page number, and you have to write first example in your example book. Okay, so here I am complete my lecture. We will see our next, second and third illustration in our next lecture. Okay, here I am complete my lecture. So thank you class.